Sergeant Major. It does not get any higher than that as an enlisted man or woman in the United States Marine Corps. Hello, everybody. I'm Patty Patain. Meet the power of intelligent conversation. How do you recruit a veteran?
How do I recruit a veteran? Well, I spend a lot of time aboard military installations at job fairs, career fairs, and so forth. But I try to capture these veterans as they're making their transition from military life back into the civilian community. Nobody is offering what it is that we're offering. We waive the test for the veterans as long as they've been honorably separated from the military within the last 5 years, and we predicate that on the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test. But they have to meet all requirements,
right,
as does John Q. Public. I mean, I'm a blessed man. It doesn't get any better than this. I mean, to know that I've got purpose in life, I feel like I'm contributing to something, I belong to something, but more importantly, I'm giving back to the men and women who I've spent the first half of my life serving. There's nothing more rewarding than that. There's nothing more rewarding than that.
The trade union, all I'm going to talk about right now is the trade union, and I'm going to narrow it down to IBEW. They have a phenomenal health program for them and your electricians, apprentices, boot camp,
yes,
pre-apprentice, everything, phenomenal. Retirement, beyond anything I've ever learned in all the years of broadcasting. So Marvin tapped you on the shoulder and said, I want you. I mean, first the government said, come on down, and you took 32 years of your life and became a highest ranking Marine that any enlisted man or woman can attain. Sacred air that you have breathed. That's very sacred. Not very many of you. So he said, come on, I need to do this. And you have now, tell us about what Marvin wanted you to do, what your title is, what you have done, and what you are doing.
So again, Marvin invited me in with Warm Receiving Arms, and he wanted me to assist him in resuscitating this veteran program here within IBEW. So with that being said, Marvin integrated me into his staff and charged me with the responsibility of helping fill every one of his apprenticeship class with 50% of that goal being veterans, augmenting the seats in all those
Tell me a little
boot
bit
camps.
about Chapter Local 11. As I understand it, it is the third largest electrical union in the nation, behind New York and San Francisco.
Chicago.
Chicago, is it Chicago? So it's New York and Chicago?
Right.
I can stand corrected. All right, so New York and Chicago, and Los Angeles is number 3 in the nation.
Right.
50%, tell me the numbers again, what Marvin wants from you?
Well, our average class size of apprentices that we normally bring in, which have recently just increased because of the demand of work and natural attrition. You have guys retiring, people transferring out, and so forth. But the goal was 50% of every apprenticeship class being veterans. And the average class, historically, when I came on 2 years ago, was about 30. So we're looking at 15 of those warm bodies being veterans from the armed
now,
forces.
Now, is this 30 graduates every day, every week, every month, every year, or just?
No, well, it depends on what type of program they enter in. Our Inside Wireman is a 5-year apprenticeship. Our Intelligent Transportation is a 4-year apprenticeship. Our Sound and Communications Unit is a 3-year apprenticeship.
Okay.
With that being said, the goal was ultimately to build this union to being 50% of veterans. And that's not freezing John Q. Public out at all, because we need the men and women from our community as well participating in this union as well, though, too, to provide opportunities and options for sustaining careers for them as well, though, too. But again, we know that we have a lot of veterans that are digressing back to the Los Angeles area, Los Angeles County, that need good sustaining jobs. And through no fault of theirs, the military, as it was going through downsizing and sequestration, things of that nature right there, where the financial constraints pulled the belt a little tighter, we're telling these men and women that, hey, listen, We love you for your service. Thank you for everything that you've done to
Right,
this
and then
country.
what?
Well,
Okay,
you know,
I'm a commentator.
Sure.
Okay, you're not going to say it. I will. In my opinion, corporate America has not supported our veterans. I happen to know that if they have a veteran hiring program, they make a big deal out of it. They put the veteran on television, they put him in their ads, they put him on, you name it. And then when business slows down or something, the first to go are the last hired, and that's the veterans. And that is not acceptable. And I am doing everything I can as a result of having met you and
Sure.
having become a very big proponent of union trades because
Right.
of the value they bring to young people and to our veterans. So what do you do all the time? I mean, whenever I try to get him on the phone, he says, well, I'm out in the field, I'm out in the field, I'm out in the field. You are all over the place. I mean,
I
from
am.
Long Beach to Lancaster, you have a huge county. Los Angeles County is your new territory. This is your responsibility for veterans that Marvin has charged you with.
Sure.
Go get those veterans and bring them in.
Right.
And it doesn't mean just the ones that have been just the younger ones. You're talking any veteran, regardless of age,
Right.
that can still
As long
do
as
the job.
As long as they can perform the task at hand, perform the job, have the aptitude to learn, we will receive them with warm, welcoming arms. There is no age discrimination, less anyone under the age of 18.
Right.
Certainly, we cannot bring in. But
And they wouldn't have been just
Sure.
transferred out of the military anyway, because they
Exactly.
can't go in that. So
Right.
basically, I happen to know that you have a current application from someone who's gone through a boot camp, who's 56 years old, hard worker, smart, and come on down, right?
Exactly. As long as he meets the requirements and the prerequisites of meeting the math requirement, high school diploma or GED, honorably separated from the military, possesses a valid driver's license, social security card, and as a citizen, we are happy to invite him in for our testing and documentation validation to find out where he's going to place. And if he meets those requirements, he gets integrated right in if selected.
I understand that they go to the top of the line.
Well, the veteran line, because of 50% of our apprenticeship seats being dedicated to veterans first and foremost, that line is much shorter than John Q. Public's line is. So I kind of call it going to the head of the line,
Yes.
so to speak. Because
And rightfully
again,
so.
Again, the demographic of Americans, I think it's 0.4% of Americans even serve in the military.
That's all?
That's what I think. That's what it is right now.
0.4%, less than
0.4%.
1% of Americans serve in the military. I have always been a proponent that I think every American, once they turn 18 years old, needs to serve. I know they do that in Israel. I happen to believe that I think we would have a even better country if everyone did that, even for just a couple of years.
Sure.
I don't know. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, you know what, Patty, honestly, I do. I like the fact that we have an all-volunteer service because first and foremost, it mitigates those entering the military that don't want to be an integral part of the military, because we have people that just do not want to serve in the military, would not perform well in the military, and do not want to be a part of the military. So having an all-volunteer service is a very, very good thing
You
after
prefer it.
Vietnam. I certainly prefer that. But to your point, though, Patty, can military service, if we had a mandatory requirement for every young man and woman upon graduation from high school to serve a minimum of 2 years in the armed forces, can they benefit from that?
Oh,
they absolutely
in
can.
a heartbeat.
They absolutely can.
Now, if you don't
Yes.
want to go into the military, maybe there'd be some other mandatory service for your country. I just don't think we're instilling enough in our young people the value of what you look. You may not have technically left a body part in the Middle East, but a lot of men and women have.
Yes, they have.
Legs, arms, their faces have been burned. Your burns don't show. your eye missing, its sight doesn't really show. Everybody needs to give something for what we have. And we have it because of men and women like you and the men and women that you commanded. And especially those that, we lost.
Sure.
It just seems to me that going to the front of the line is the least. Even though they have to cut it, they still have to make the grade.
Sure.
You're not here. You gave me a really good speech about how you address these men and women, and that is, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not in front of them as veterans to give them anything,
Right.
but an opportunity.
Exactly. An
I
opportunity.
mean, you're tough. You have to be.
Yeah, we're not here to enable anybody. We're not handing anything free to nobody whatsoever.
Just because you're a veteran, you don't get
Exactly.
a free pass.
Exactly.
You get to the front of the line in the opportunity end of it.
Patty, that is the one sustaining thing with us and why we are so veteran friendly, because we expect so much more from these young men and women, these veterans, because they are of a higher caliber. They understand teamwork, they understand discipline. My gosh, they've come from a very regimented lifestyle. They understand reliability, dependability, accountability, responsibility. And these are the men and women that we are seeking, because our jobs, our contractors, the performance of our work demands all of those attributes
And
right
safety.
there.
You're dealing with electricity, it can kill you.
Exactly. And the military is predicated on safety,
Mm-hmm.
as well as this trade is very much so predicated on safety.
How are you doing out there? How are you finding, how about, I know, I've seen a few women in IBEW. Tell me about bringing women into this. I mean, do women really want to be an electrician? I mean, look, if I were an electrician, I wouldn't have fingernails. I mean, come on. How's it going?
I tell you, women are a very hard demographic to recruit. And I think that mindset is certainly starting to change as our economy evolves. It used to be perceived once upon a time that, hey, this is a man's world. This is what men do. Men do construction. That's how it was perceived once upon a time. But you have a lot of women out there that shoulder and harness the same aptitude in life, that are very capable of doing this job, and they are excelling at this jobs, or at this job.
The women, I happen to be a little bit prejudiced, okay? I think that women can many times do any job better than men because A, we can multitask. No offense,
No, none
Mike.
taken. None taken.
I have yet to meet a man that can multitask.
Well, for women, the pitch is merely this. You are treated as an equal. You get paid the same identical money that men earn. You get the same benefits. You get the same training. The same opportunities exist out there for you as do the men. That's the pitch right there.
You
The
become
same
a journeyman.
opportunities.
The minimum amount of money you can make, just as a journeyman electrician, is $70,000 a year. That's about the average.
Sure.
And at the same time, and you can support your family on that very nicely. But there's more.
There is.
Your health insurance is not taken out of your salary. It's paid for by your employer. Your retirement is not taken out of your salary. It is paid by your employer. You're looking at probably you're looking at about $100,000 a year. That's a pretty
Yes.
nice career after your career in the military.
That
It's
is
pretty nice
correct.
for
Middle
anybody.
class living.
Yes, very nice. I think there's a saying that, in fact, I did see it, that the American unions help build the American middle class.
That is
Now, we
correct.
don't really have the middle class anymore. I think it started when we lost vocational education in the
Sure.
schools. And now it's beginning to come back. I know in our Coachella Valley Unified School District, and I think you have it here in in Los Angeles also. I'm most familiar, of course, with where we're headquartered in
Right.
Coachella. But Pathway Academies We're introducing building trades, IBW, into the Coachella Valley Unified School District. We have a very progressive superintendent there, Dr. Darrell Adams. But when you can get them in high school and introduce them to the beauty of what putting a couple of wires together without having them
Sure.
hurt themselves, it's incredible what happens. And it gives a head start to your job.
Sure.
So are you and Marvin happy with how you're going? How's it going?
Yes, we have not achieved our goal yet, and we keep chipping away at the stone.
50%.
Yes, I continue to chip away at the stone daily. But again, that goal, that mission is ahead of me. Much like many missions I've had in the Marine Corps, eventually you get your arms around it and it gets accomplished. And again, we will keep moving towards that goal on a daily basis.
How do you recruit a veteran?
How do I recruit a veteran? Well, I spend a lot of time aboard military installations at job fairs, career fairs, and so forth. But I try to capture these veterans as they're making their transition from military life back into the civilian community. And that's obviously my main priority right there. But there's a lot of veterans that are missed along the way as well
Yes.
too, who make that transition from the military and they go back home, and they think to themselves that, well, hey, listen, when I get home, that's when I'm going to figure it out. The military has gotten better with its transitional programs right now, doing much more for our service members to help prepare them for their
But
transition.
not as much as, it's not there yet.
It's not all the way there yet, you know. And the military
You're
would be
missing
the-
financial education. Let's
Right.
say a kid, and they're kids, come on.
Right.
And somebody in their 20s that maybe served 4 years or 8 years. In many ways, they're a kid, but they're an adult now that they've served and probably gone over and gotten shot at.
Right.
So they're a different kind of, they're tough.
Sure.
They've got life.
Sure.
But they come out, and for the most part, they and their families, they have families in the military, they've been taken care of. They don't have to pay rent. They don't have to do this. They don't have to do that if they live on base. The whole thing. So they've been insulated
Nurtured.
from real life out here. Like you got to
Sure.
have first and last.
Yeah.
You've got to have your utility deposits. You have to learn how to live in the real world. That component appears, for the most part, to be missing.
Right.
I hope to be part of helping that fill that
Sure.
gap. But when this happens, you can come out of the military, and some of them find themselves homeless. Some of them find themselves in nowhere jobs, back to flipping the pizzas or doing, if they're lucky, would you like fries with that? It's not there. But being able to get your message out to say, hey, here I am. By the way, your phone number is right here.
Right.
They can call you direct and say, "Hey, Sergeant Major, I'm a former Marine, or I'm former Air Force, or I'm this. I just got out and I'm kind of lost. And can you help me?" And I would imagine you have a very specific route that they can take to say, "Come on down."
Exactly. And they can contact me VFR directly. And I'm receptive to any and everyone that contacts me.
Yeah, I
record
just
their
love
information.
your military language. Explain to me VFR.
It was just a military terminology, meaning very fast, reliable, quick.
VFR, thank you
Yeah.
very much. I appreciate that. And most of Mike's language when we talk is military, and I'm beginning to learn it. Transition. I just pick him up every now and then, and I have to catch myself and say, "What do you mean, Mike?" And he interprets for me. So these men and women that you're looking for, I'm going to be recruiting. There's something called HUD-VASH, which is a HUD program for homeless veterans and their families, and women and their children and their families that served in the military. We're going to be talking about that at another time, but they don't know that this housing is available. Anywhere is available to, not housing in any kind of an apartment complex, homes, and the VA under HUD-VASH pays all the rent and sets them up at a house. And this is a program I have to do another show on, but I'm working on it. Is there anything that Marvin and you want to do right now, other than increase your numbers, that you're not doing, that a format like KVET TV and all the ability we have over social media today and broadcasting in Los Angeles and all over Southern California right now. Is there anything that you have in the future that you want to accomplish that you're not doing right now, or anything that this kind of a medium can help you do?
Well, I think right now our plate is full with the things that we're working at, but again, we always take more on and try to develop and evolve things because we do a lot of military outreach, a lot of community service as well, though, to give back to this community of Los Angeles.
What is your official title with IBW Local
I
11?
am the Director of Veterans Affairs for Local 11.
As I understand it, I have never heard of this title in any other union. Did Marvin created this alone?
Yes, he did.
This is it.
Yes,
You're
he
it
did.
in the country, are you not right now?
I am it, and I am born because of Marvin. But again, this was his way of resuscitating this program and giving back to our military service members. Marvin's a very out-of-the-box thinking guy, very, very progressive. He wanted to make this union a very progressive union. And he wanted veterans to help complement the already professional workforce that we actually had. Veterans, after World War II, veterans built this nation. They built this country. And Marvin knew the value of that, and he wanted to rekindle all of that again because he knows that they're the right fit for this trade.
Well, he is one.
He is one himself, exactly.
You guys
So
are
he
made
knows,
out of the same cloth.
He knows firsthand. You know,
Yep.
our contractors love these men and women as well, though, too. And again, all they do is they complement an already professional, skilled, trained workforce that had been existing out there. But we also wanted to create a pathway for those men and women who have put their lives on hold to serve their nation. And you're right, Patty, there's a lot of people that come up to me and many other veterans and thank them for the service. We truly appreciate it.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think it's enough, Mom.
But truth be told, it was truly our honor to serve this nation.
Yeah.
That's why we arise to the occasion.
Yeah, I get it.
was
I have
our
a
honor.
career today thanks to y'all.
Yes. So again, Marvin wanted to create a pathway to give back to these servicemen and women and provide them with good careers. And being an electrician, being an integral member of Local Union 11, this is a lifestyle. This is not, a job where you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're at your appointed place of duty by 8 o'clock, or your job at 8 o'clock and you're gone by 3. It's so much more than that, Patty. There's so much more. We're activists. We're very, very pro-union. We come together. We advocate on behalf of project labor agreements. We
Has
are
any
politically
other-
involved.
Right. Has any other local IBEW across the country picked up and replicated what you and Marvin are doing?
Not to my knowledge as of
Okay.
yet.
Not yet.
Now, please note that there are many other locals across this nation that are in search of vets, but just don't know how to go about recruiting those vets. And for
Are they
some of
calling
those,
you to say, hey,
yes,
help me?
I have fielded a lot of phone calls that, hey, Mike, listen, we really like what you guys are doing out there. But I would also tell you, though, too, that some of the locals around this nation aren't very big locals at all in
Right.
terms of
Well,
population.
they don't have the 14,000 you do, and they're
Exactly.
growing like you. They have maybe 1,000.
Exactly. So if they can put 10 people through an apprenticeship program per year,
Right.
that's a very good thing. But if one of those could be a veteran in that 10,
Yes.
that's yet another good thing as well, though, too. So certainly nobody is offering what it is that we're offering. We waive the test for the veterans as long as they've been honorably separated from the military within the last 5 years, and we predicate that on the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test. But they have to meet all requirements,
Right.
as does John Q. Public. Those that are outside that 5-year window, they sit down and they take the entrance examination right alongside of everybody else.
From a personal standpoint,
Sure.
how do you like what you're doing now?
I love what I do. This is now the second greatest institution I've ever belonged to, Patty. I come from a union background. Grandfather, father, both steel workers. But there was I come from Youngstown, Ohio, the Steel Valley. That was all gone as I came, as I was coming into age. There was no jobs, there was no careers, and that's partially what led me to the military as well.
Is the military not just one great union. The union means really
Yes.
coming together. It's
Yes.
one great union of
It
men
is.
and women that protect us and
Yes.
serve us. So you've gone from one great union to
To yet
another
one.
great union.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the second greatest career I've had in my life. I mean, I'm a blessed man. It doesn't get any better than this. I mean, to know that I've got purpose in life, I feel like I'm contributing to something, I belong to something, but more importantly, I'm giving back to the men and women who I've spent the first half of my life serving. There's nothing more rewarding than that. There's nothing more rewarding than that.
This place is really impressive. What have
Thank
we
you.
got here?
Well, right now we're standing at the Electrical Training Institute in the City of Commerce, California. This is a joint venture training center between IBEW Local 11 and our Los Angeles NECA chapter.
It looks like you have some acreage.
I'm not sure what the acreage is, but the facility itself is 140,000 plus square feet.
140,000?
Yeah, that includes office space. We've got classroom and laboratory space, and then we've also got a very large warehouse in the back.
So you are training young men and young women and veterans to be electricians and members of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
Yeah, we have a very diverse student population, men, women, veterans as well. I think currently we're 250 plus veterans that are part of our apprenticeship. Our overall population is rapidly approaching 1,600
Apprentices.
apprentices.
Out of a total membership in IBW 11,
It's
14,000. What's your goal for your military as a percentage of, let's say, the 16,000? I mean, you have an unlimited sky's the limit?
Right. Well, obviously, we have a very aggressive goal that has been staked for not only myself but the staff, and we are shooting towards establishing 50% of the entire apprenticeship being veterans. If in fact we can achieve that goal.
That would be close to 900, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Now, this is something called a net zero plus building.
Right.
That's what makes this totally unique.
So we just recently completed a energy retrofit. The building is now what we call a net zero plus facility. Basically what that means is when we look at the amount of energy we've consumed versus what we've produced over a period of time, which in this case is a year, when we add those up, the net is going to be zero. This lab here is where we do a lot of our DC theory training. They can also do some motor control and transformer stuff, but primarily this room here is used for DC theory and AC theory training. We have a few different classifications within IBEW. This lab here is dedicated to the sound and communications apprentices.
So basically, when I build our full-blown television studio for KVET TV at our Veterans Jobs and Business Academy, can't say that enough, Mike, in Coachella, you're going to have not only apprentices, but journeyman electronics experts that will build out my television studio.
Right, we work on all the low voltage systems, telephone, data.
They're hitting the books. Look at that. They're hitting the books.
Like I said, we do have apprentices here. It's not just an empty building.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it looks like they're testing today.
The ride is free as far as cost.
Right.
The ride is not easy, simple, or free when it comes to the work they have to do. So they have a free financial ride, but they
Right.
have anything but a free ride through the courses.
Again, these men and women are intelligent enough to see the end state down there, and they understand what they're holding in their hand, and they take it very, very seriously.
Same with your veterans.
Yes.